Belle, a sixth form student, has come to the beach today because she needs a break from her studies. But she finds herself thinking of an introduction for an essay she has to write on the quality and relevance of education. She thinks, in a world that is constantly changing, sometimes we have to ask ourselves if what we are doing makes any sense, if what we are learning makes any sense, and if it is really preparing us for the future. Her chain of thought is quickly interrupted by the sound of drums coming from the beach. Against the better judgment, she decides to go and explore and finds a conch shell. Cautiously, she picks it up, wary of the duend that she may find inside.
Hello?
Excuse. Hello. Gillian, know when you pick up a shell like me, I had 10 wishes.
A whole 10 wishes? Well, I said, tell me about the education system in Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, where the government has made education free and compulsory for children from ages 5 to 15. Education is a high priority in the country of Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry of Education is responsible for early childhood care and education, primary, secondary, tertiary education, and government assistance for tertiary education. Primary school starts from age 5, comprising 7 grades. Secondary school is compulsory for the first 5 years. Students in the third year do NCSE, and in the fifth year, CSEC is compulsory. Sports are integrated from primary to secondary school. PE is mandatory in public secondary schools. Trinidadians view education as a way to escape poverty. Parents encourage their children, both males and females, to do well in school. As a result, the adult literacy rate of Trinidad and Tobago increased from 94.97% in 1980 to 98.7% in 2010, growing at an average annual rate of 1.29%.
Yeah, but this system not making any sense. I go in school for 14 years and the only IT they teach me to do is open Microsoft.
Well, what do you expect?
Hold on, let me hit record.
No, madam, you do not have my consent.
Well, how I supposed to remember this in essay?
You can't do that?
Well, tell me about another country or something now.
All right. The US system is typically divided into 3 levels: elementary, middle, and high school. Ninth grade usually starts around age 14, and students usually graduate around 18. The SAT is an entrance exam used by most colleges and universities to make admissions decisions. The most common standardized tests for graduate schools are the GRE, GMAT, LSAT, and MCAT. These exams function as a broad assessment of students' critical thinking, analytical writing, verbal reasoning, and quantitative reasoning skills. The average student is free to enroll in activities and classes that fit their individual goals in areas such as liberal arts, in contrast to the standardized, stereotyped areas of medicine, law, and public service. Culturally, education can be a measure of income or ability to acquire wealth, perhaps live a decent life in the USA. What puts the US apart from Trinidad and Tobago is the extensive exposure to hands on experiences through the vast amount of co curriculars provided. Common educational opportunities that may be considered co curricular include student newspapers, musical performances, art shows, mock trials, debate competitions, and mathematics, robotics, and engineering teams and contests. They facilitate real life experiences that prepare students more than ever for their chosen careers.
Okay, fine. But what about somewhere like Germany? I hear they even offer free tertiary education to some international students.
Yes, well, that's true. There are so many more good things to talk about, but let me give you a bit of background first. At the age of 6, German students begin their academic career. From grades 1 through 4, children attend elementary or primary school where the subjects taught are the same for all. After the fourth grade, there are 2 years of an orientation or testing phase in which students are separated according to their academic ability and the wishes of their families, and then go on to attend one of three different kinds of secondary schools: hub school, real school, or gymnasium. The hub school teaches the same subjects as the other two schools, but at a slower pace and with some vocational oriented courses. It leads to part time enrollment in a vocational school combined with apprenticeship training until the age of 18. The real school leads to part time vocational schools and higher vocational schools. It is also possible for students with high academic achievement at the real school to switch to a gymnasium on graduation. The gymnasium leads to Germany's main standardized test called the Abitur. This examination certifies satisfactory completion of academic secondary school and prepares students for university study. While this is one aspect of Germany's education system that the Caribbean can strive to implement to improve the quality of education currently being offered, the country is not free of its own issues. After World War II, the country was split in two. This had a drastic effect on the education system. Since unification, Germany's educational system has struggled with new challenges of unifying the radically different philosophies and structures of East and West, equalizing education for both sexes, and adapting a traditional educational system to the demands of a new technological age.
Well, we need that here. I can't understand how someone could go to high school without learning to read.
Let me take you to some unfamiliar territory: East Asia, more specifically, Japan.
Welcome to Tokyo. Being glad that you are here.
The basic Japanese school system is composed of elementary school, middle school, high school, and university. Education is mandatory for the 9 years of elementary and middle school only. Oftentimes, the hours of schooling is at an average of 4 to 10 hours, as many students attend cram school for about 2 to 6 hours after school. In Japan, the annual achievement assessments are conducted by the Education Ministry on students across the nation. The National Center Test for University Admissions is a standardized test used by public and some private universities in Japan. In Japan, an all round approach to education is applied. During elementary school, children are taught to respect other people and to be gentle to animals and nature. They also learn how to be generous, compassionate, and empathetic. Besides this, pupils are taught qualities like grit, self control, and justice. Additionally, the Japanese education system believes that requiring students to clean up after themselves teaches them to work in a team and help each other. Classes are divided into small teams for many activities. For example, every day the students clean the classrooms, halls, and yards of their school in these teams. This enables students to clearly respect their learning environment, and well ordered classrooms all play their part.
Always one. A teacher could never tell me to clean up a classroom. Had to be mad.
See how you're unruly? On to your final destination, India. Education in India was initially a Gurukula system where students would go to the house of a guru to request teaching. Eventually, the spread of Buddhism made it so that education was made available to everyone. The education system we see now is a mixture of indigenous, Western, and European principles. The latter is sadly due to a history of colonization. India is divided into 28 states run directly by the government and 7 union territories. Education guidelines and principles are created and implemented by the National Council for Educational Research and Training. At the national level, it is mandatory that students learn English, Hindi, and their mother tongue. Although the government of Trinidad and Tobago has made attempts to integrate Spanish into the national curriculum, this is not enough. With the recent Venezuelan migration crisis, students need to be fluent in Spanish before even leaving the primary level, or else there's going to be a major breakdown in communication. Furthermore, there are Caribbean islands that speak Dutch and others that speak French. If you want to capitalize on industries, you need to make these mandatory, or else development is hindered. It should, in theory, be easy because the school systems are alike. There are three boards that execute standardized tests: the Central Board of Secondary Education, Indian Certificate of Secondary Education, and the Senior Cambridge Certification. For your essay, pay close attention to the CBSE. All schools that follow this organization's curriculum have the same schedule. I think this region can benefit from this. It may help to level the playing field. Think about it this way: if everyone learns the same things at the same time to sit the same exam, doesn't it make it a bit easier for everyone to pass? Let's discuss in the comment section below.
This all seems good. I'm sure that I will remember all of this to my essay.
I'm sure you remember since you recorded me without my permission.
I just have one more question though. How can I get all ones for my CAPE exams?
I don't see any passes in your future.